What is up, YouTube? It's RSMario here, bringing you another Fire Emblem If Theories video. Now, alright, I'm going to do something with this video I didn't really do with the previous Fire Emblem videos, and it's something I actually did with most of my Zelda videos back in, earlier when, there was actually news for Zelda. Whenever there was news to come out, I would cover the news before I went into the theory. So there are 3 bits of news. One of them we already kind of know, but was more elaborated on. Well, actually a couple of them we kind of knew. They just kind of elaborated more on them. One of them is actually a pretty interesting piece of news. But we're going to start off first with the one we kind of knew about, which was the fact that the game was being, that there are differences between the black version and the white version of the game. Which, I mean, we knew, but he kind of goes into a little bit more detail about that. Basically saying it's not just the story, but it's actually, of course, the difficulty in the battles. We knew that anyway, but here's the thing. So he goes in basically saying that, in the black version of the game, battles will be more difficult, and you'll have different victory conditions, which is something that was sorely needed in Fire Emblem Awakening. Because in Fire Emblem Awakening, you had a lot of battles that went different ways because of the environment and different factors or whatever. But most of the victory conditions were the same. Either it was to completely wipe out the enemy or to kill the captain. Occasionally you would have the, you must fight your way to get to this character, or, a glorified freaking, escort mission where one idiot character wants to get from one place to another on their own, but there's like 20 things in the way that can kill them. And you have to basically risk your characters to protect this idiot person so they can get from point A to point B. Yeah, that was the Fire Emblem Awakening. Yeah, just let her die. But yeah, so in Fire Emblem If the black version, hopefully the white version will have some of these too, because they really aren't telling us what's going on in the white version. But in the black version, there will be different victory conditions, like breaking through enemy lines, which is interesting because the dynamic there is like maybe there's a big enemy defense and you have to break through it to get one unit to some location and then you win. This next piece of news actually comes from the box art. Now the box art was released for the European version of the game, I believe, and it actually revealed, the Japanese box art was released, and it basically confirmed 2 things. One, that there will be amiibo support, which at this point, what Nintendo game doesn't have amiibo support? And which basically means you're gonna have to bust out your wallet if you want to play as Marth, because Marth is running for like $60-70 right now a piece. But yeah, you'll probably be able to get those characters in Fire Emblem If, similar to how in Fire Emblem Awakening there was the Phantoms DLC. But the major thing with this is the age limit got bumped up to 15 plus, which is basically like the T rating in Japan. So, maybe those life and death choices, and maybe there's more cutscenes where people get violently murdered with arrows in the game, it made them push it up a little bit. Hopefully, this will probably be a T-rated game in, the States too. That'd be awesome. Next piece of news going in is going to be pretty interesting when they basically go into, the game being 3 different games, or 3 different parts. There's black, there's white, and there's the third part, which they have said nothing about. So we know black and white has differences, even though they really haven't talked much about the white version either. What this theory is really going to be about is the third version. It's really going to release later later, whenever. Probably Christmas time 2016 for us. But yeah, so the dancer chick, someone we also know nothing about, similar to the third, piece of the game we know really nothing much about her. We don't know her name. We don't know where she's from. We don't know if she's from Hokkaido or Hokkaido or if she's from Nor. We have no clue anything about her. All we know that she is connected to both sides in some way, depending on whatever side you choose, and that, you know, eventually you'll try to murder her. So, yeah, you know, that's really all we know about her. My theory is the reason why we don't know anything about her could be a few things. One is she's possibly a goddess, or at least some sort of, you know, celestial manifestation. Because you look at the poster, you know, she seems to be among them, but not among them. You know, she seems to be kind of like there, but not actually there. She's in the center of them, and she's holding up this celestial staff. You know, as well as in the box art, you don't actually see her, even though she's the first character we saw in the trailers. You know, so, you know, maybe she's not part of this world. Maybe she's from somewhere else. Which brings me into my next part of my theory. Maybe she's from a different timeline. Now, in Fire Emblem Awakening, without going into really any spoilers, if you haven't gotten this far in Fire Emblem Awakening, time travel does play a role in the game. And there are people from different timelines in the game. And, you know, they play a role in the game. Maybe this is her thing. Maybe she's from a different timeline. And that's why, you know, she's not on the box art. And that's why we know nothing about her, because she's not from that timeline. And the final part of this theory is maybe the reason we know nothing about her is because she is a quintessential part of the third part of the story. Kind of like the Trinity in a Pokemon game. You know, you always have the main two. Like in X and Y, we have Xerneas and Yveltal. And, you know, we know about those two. We know that, you know, Xerneas is life and Yveltal is destruction and death. You know, but we know nothing about Zygrade. You know, even though lately we do have some theories that he might be connected to Hoopa, and he's the order Pokemon, and he's going to try to keep order where Hoopa's chaos and yin yang type of deal there. But, we really don't know much about him, and they do this every time with Pokemon games. You know, there's always the Trinity, and you learn about the main two mascots, and then the third one gets their own game. Maybe that's the case with the Dancer. Maybe the third part of the DLC would go more into the Dancer's part of the story. You know, and maybe, you know, that part will be more not on either side and more about, you know, the greater enemy. You know, because another aspect of this game we know nothing about is the Nosferatu. Now, we see that this avatar is pretty surprised when he sees a Nosferatu. You know, and he basically thinks that means something bad. Which it probably does, because that thing looks like freaking Bane. So, yeah, you know, maybe the third part of the story involves whatever evil, you know, created the Nosferatu. Even though they're probably going to get into that, you know, they'll probably touch base with that in the other two stories. Because I believe in the Black story, the main motivation for Max, you know, Marx to split and basically cause a civil war is because he finds out that his dad is evil, and his dad is in league with whatever evil creates these creatures. And of course, you'll have to fight those creatures if you're in the white version, because, you know, he's gonna throw them at you eventually. So yeah, you know, I think that, you know, these creatures will be a part of the other two games, but they'll play a major role in the third one, which will basically be kind of like the, I guess you can call it Fire Emblem Gray. But yeah, you know, that's pretty much what's going down here. You know, I believe we're going to get more into the Dancer story and her impact on the world, you know, in the third part of the game, which will probably be available on both games, since it's probably going to be the end of the game. Which I hope is not like one of those things where you buy the game and you beat the game, but the true ending is DLC. Please don't do that to me. Please don't pull a Prince of Persia on me, Nintendo. I like you guys too much. But that's about it. Like, comment, subscribe. Keep a lookout on for my videos. You know, watch my anime videos. I know you guys like anime. Somebody watching this video likes anime. Check out my anime stuff. It's actually pretty cool. I like doing those. And as always, keep it real.